Welcome to Fangirl Diaries. This is your fangirl host with the most, Danny. And let's get into today's entry.
Lilia. How you doing?
Good.
Wow. Today's episode is going to be an interesting one because I think this is technically the first time we're doing a couple that's no longer together.
Oh no.
I think.
Scary.
I'm like trying to rank back on all the shows. Like, I guess I should phrase it in the sense that this will be the first time doing a couple that at the time of recording has broken up. If, you know, one of the couples that we have done an episode on, like a show that we've done that features a couple that has maybe broken up afterwards, that doesn't count. But this is technically, and you know what's funny? In a few weeks, we'll do another one because in the next Prince, Jimmy Ohm is broken up. So this is like, you know, it's bound to happen. But since it is the summer, I thought this would be a great show to do. I actually really enjoyed it. I was really, I won't say surprised. I'd seen, so this show is on YouTube. You can actually watch it. It's on YouTube, the entire series. It's split into 4 parts. I'd only seen like episode 1, part 1. Because I hate watching shows on YouTube. I hate them. Because it's always broken up in 4 parts. So you always have to find like a playlist. And so just to reiterate, we're watching that. We're talking today about That Summer, which was Whitney Satong's first leading show together as a pair. And their last show as a pair. I mean, who knows? Maybe by the end of the year, they'll get back together. You never know. Stranger things have happened. You know, this year is, speaking of GMM, this year's the 10th anniversary for their show SOTUS, which is like one of the like pillars of like BL series from what I've been told. And it features a couple named Chris Satong who, after the second season, and I think one other show after that, one of the members of the pair left for a couple of years and the pair broke up, and then they got back together like 2-3 years ago. They recently, you know, and they're going to be doing their second show at GMM this year, like between this year and next year. They've announced they actually did a show called That Exit Morning that I really, an X morning that I really liked. So, you know, you never know. And their mascot's still a thing. But I figured this would be a nice summer show. It is on YouTube, so if you guys do want to check it out, it's not like you have to get like a streaming service for it. It's one of the few shows, surprisingly, that GMM has left on YouTube. I don't understand why sometimes they'll have a show on there and then they'll take it off and put it on like a streaming service. Like Osana's Love was on YouTube and then suddenly they took it off after a couple months. But this one's still on there. It's very sweet. I actually really enjoyed it. I kind of want to, it's like one of those shows where I'm like, I might rewatch it. I will say, I really enjoyed Whitney Satong as a couple. I kind of understand why a lot of people were sad when they broke up because I felt that they were really good together. But I will say that besides that, the second couple in this series, Ron Ray, who are now in A Dog and a Plane together, I thought their chemistry was really good. And it makes me more excited that I've been watching A Dog and the Plane, like seeing them together in that one. I'm like, I need them to have like a lead series together and all that. They seem like a really good, like, a good match for each other. And I think GMM needs to roll the ball there, not just make them side couples and a side actor or whatever. But yeah, so this is technically... So this is like the last show they did together. Funny enough, the first time I ever saw them together in a series, they were not a couple. They were in a show called Fish Upon a Sky, which was one of the, I want to say the first time, but like one of the earlier series for Pon Puin. They weren't even a couple in this. They played Puin's character's friends. So because I think in the end of that series, Winnie's character ends up falling for like one of the girls in that show. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it. And then I want to say the first time, I think in My School Principals, the first time we see them together as a couple, and then they were in We Are Together, which I have slowly started watching. And then, of course, That Summer. And then the last show they were in, funny enough, we did do this show. They were in Cat for Cash. Winnie was in the last, like 2-esque episodes, and Satong was in a good couple because he was like a side character. That was like the last time we ever got to see them as a couple, which is really sad. For those who don't remember, it was during Cat for Cash that they had announced a breakup. And I guess we will have to talk about it. But I don't understand what happened. I don't understand why they announced the breakup during Cat for Cash, because at the time it made no sense to me. They had an event at the end of the month. I think we talked about this, right, Lilia? I believe either on that one or a Cat for Cash video, someone had mentioned that more likely the reason why it was announced during Cat for Cash that they weren't going to do be a couple anymore is because they weren't going to be participating in LOL Fest. I feel like that being the explanation. Well, so I will say this: as far as we're aware, GMM never announced why they broke up, or at least never gave us a reason why they announced the breakup to be during Cat for Cash. I don't believe that to be the case. That they decided to announce the breakup before LOL Fest makes no sense. I don't think they've ever done that for a previous couple that's broken up before LOL Fest. But also, they weren't the only couple that didn't participate in LOL Fest. Like Owl Boom wasn't in it. Chris Santos wasn't in it. Was it Chris Santos? Chris Santos, yeah. Tainu wasn't in it, and it's not like, it's just no other excuse of like, oh well, it's because they had this coming in, this coming in. No, because like it's like so many factors. I don't know how they pick and choose which couples do LOL Fest, but it doesn't make sense to me that the reason why Winnie Satong wouldn't have been a part of it is because the reason why they announced the breakup was because they weren't going to be part of LOL Fest. It just doesn't make any sense to me. We would have questioned it regardless if they hadn't announced it, in the same way that I question why Owl Boom wasn't a part of it when the other members of Jasper were. It made no sense. It doesn't, to me, that's not an explanation that makes sense. I don't think we'll ever get a real explanation as of right now as to why they decided to do that. A part of me is like, maybe the reason why they did that, I would assume it's just that I can't think of an explanation, to be honest with you. It's kind of hard to think about it. That's something I wanted to, I've been thinking about that a lot, especially after watching the show, because they did that. They had one final event together. It was them and their mascot Summary, and they were fine with it. There was, from the videos that I've seen, it feels like a little tension, but I just don't understand. I don't understand it. And I'm going in circles and circles. I'm thinking about all that. They had Satong do like a whole press thing for Cat for Cash where they did a live and people were asking about it. It was still very fresh. I think it was really wrong for GMM to do that during that whole situation when you were going to have Satong still promote the series, still be in live, so fresh. And they could have waited. There was so much time between that and LOL Fest. They could have waited. In all honesty, if I was making a decision in that company, I would have waited at least a week or two after their final event, and just been like, there's a mutual decision that they were no longer going to be a pairing together. I don't find that excuse of like LOL Fest being the reason to be a good explanation. It was horrible. I felt bad for both of them. I know some speculate that maybe Winnie just needs a break and is it's the possibility of like maybe him doing a break and him breaking it up is so that Satong doesn't have to wait for him to like do another show. But the crazy thing is, Winnie is casted in the next High and Low Born to Be High series that's going to start filming soon. This is a Thai adaptation of the Japanese series High and Low. Winnie is one of many characters in it with, Josh, Pon, C, Sky Nini. There's a bunch of actors. Was announced last year. And, Owl, Mark, Barcode, Cow Tongue's in it. Like, a lot of actors are in this. There's no pairings or anything in it. And then the next thing that Satong had was the show that they were supposed to be in together, My Professional Boyfriend. So I don't know if I buy that. Maybe that's, it could be, maybe he is taking a small break. I don't know. It's like a lot of factors. So I'm just like, I can't really justify. Maybe he just doesn't want to hold him back. Because I know that's kind of possibly the explanation that we've got for Jimmy Ohm, is that Jimmy, from my understanding, I think Jimmy just doesn't want to do pairings and doesn't want to feel like he's, holding Ohm back in a sense, but he's still acting. So, when it comes to Thai BLs, I will say a lot of times the pairings can be a lot. It can restrict you a lot. And while it's great for things like, being able to be comfortable with someone that you can do multiple series with and build a fan base with, I feel like it does restrict you a lot from doing a lot of things sometimes in certain cases. And it's a conversation I know I've been seeing a lot with certain pairings that I'm not going to fully discuss here because it's not the place. But yeah, so this came out last summer. We were supposed to, after Cat Forgets, they were supposed to be in a show called My Professional Boyfriend. The pilot, as of recent, was so the pilot for that series was not taken off of YouTube. It has been hidden. The My Drama List page is still up for it, although there's no indication as to who will be taking over for this series. If they're maybe going to, maybe they're going to give Satang another partner, or maybe there's a possibility they do come back. Who knows? I don't think this is one where they're just going to give up on the series, because I believe it's based on a book that they have purchased the rights to. So I don't see them like doing that anytime soon. I know that there's been speculation. I think the Instagram went down, and maybe I think the Twitter's been on and off. So I couldn't really speak on it, but I guess it's kind of like the end of that. I mean, I obviously am probably missing a lot of things, but they weren't a couple that I was like 100% like following that much. Like I said, I kind of paid attention to them a lot more when they were in Cat for Cash because of all the situation that was going on. I started watching We Are. I haven't fully like finished it. But I just, it's sad. I experienced funny enough, I think around the time this was airing, or I want to say around the time that this was airing. So that summer it started airing, let me see, September 19th and ended in November. Oh, wow. It's not even a summer show. That's funny that it's a summer. It's called That Summer, but they waited until after summer to air. I mean, I guess depending on when summer is in Thailand. Oh, that's crazy. So I was just looking at this. So that summer actually came out a couple of weeks after Members of Rati ended. And for those who don't know, Members of Rati obviously was the last great in series. They obviously broke up a couple weeks after that. So it's sad. You know what's kind of crazy? So Members of Rati, the side couple for that one was Album. And now they're thriving as a couple. I think they had been mostly a side couple at that point. I wonder if it's going to be like a following pattern where Mon, Ray, whatever. I keep saying whatever. I don't mean to say whatever, but Mon, Ray end up being like the next couple because they were the side couple in this one and the main couple broke up. That would be a crazy like conspiracy theory. No, I'm kidding. It's just something I was thinking about just now because I was like, oh, that's right. Like, Album was a side couple in that one, and now they're not. But yeah, I guess let's get into the discussion of the show. So, synopsis. Lava's mother sends him to live with his young uncle by the beach, and he is immediately put to work. One day, he finds a man washed up on the shore. At the hospital, Dr. Watt diagnoses the man with amnesia, and his uncle volunteers Lava as his caretaker. Lava names him Wave and reassigns all his duties to the stranger. Wave is surprisingly fussy and inept at manual labor, hinting at a pampered past. You know what's crazy? They named 3 characters. None of them the uncle. That's wild. But they named the uncle's husband. Spoilers. The uncle, his name is Piang Hong. Yeah. It's Mon's character. By the way, Mond is... How old is Mond? Mond is 29. I do love that on here it says who he's dating. He's dating. By the way, my drama list, that's wild. He's 29. Winnie, who plays Lava, is 25. So there's a 4-year difference. And the woman playing Winnie's mom, Lava's mom, where is she? All I can say is, right, she must be in her 40s. It's crazy to me that Mond and Winnie have a 4-year difference, and they're like, that's his uncle. They act like he's got a 10-year difference on him in the show. They never stay with the ages. I just think it's kind of weird that they have him living with his younger uncle. And it's like, yeah, younger how? He's only a 4-year difference. That means he was 4 when his mom had him, when his sister had him, had Lava. Makes no sense with the way that like the whole thing is treated. I'm like, don't be putting that on my man Mond. What do you mean 29 is old? He's good looking too, by the way. Really good looking. I'm here for it. I also love that Neo's in this, and Neo and Mon have been in a lot of shit together. Like, I'm pretty sure if I line up both of their things together, they've been in a lot of stuff. I always thought they would look cute together as a couple, if only because I was dying for that in oh my god, what was it? I'm trying to remember what the show is that they were in. My Golden Blood. I'm like, why am I hesitating? They were in My Golden Blood together, and I assumed they were going to be like the side couple in My Golden Blood, and then they weren't, and I was kind of like disappointed. So they were both in Only Friends Dream On together. Not Dream On. They were in Only Friends together because they kind of like made out in the second to last episode, which I was happy because I was like, oh cool, I finally get to see them make out. This is my dream. Because they were good together, and then they were in this together, and then they were also in My Golden Blood. So they've been in like, so scratch that. I guess I was wrong in saying they were in many things together. They were in 3 things together. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. But like I kind of was hoping for it in My Golden Blood. I was like, give me it. They look good together. I thought they would look really good together. I guess that's just me. Funny enough, Neo was also in Fish Upon a Sky with Winnie Satong playing Puin's older brother. So he's the one that connects Puin's character with Winnie Satong's characters. So that's, kind of funny to me that like, I kind of just love all the interconnections in it. But yeah. So Lava is kind of like one of those kids where he's not a bad kid. It's just he's been handed short end of the stick, something else. I don't know. There's like a metaphor for it. I can't think of it right now. So basically he's acting out because his mom kind of seems like she doesn't care at all. He's acting out. He's going out partying, drinking. And from my understanding from the flashbacks we got, it's been a couple of years since her husband, his father, was killed in an accident. And we'll get to like what happened in the accident a little bit later. And she remarries. So there isn't much of an indication if she remarried before he passed away or if they had been divorced and then they remarried. I think the indication that they were married when he passed away. She gets remarried. He's got like what I assume is a stepbrother and a new father, a stepfather who's like, I guess, running for government or whatever. So him acting out isn't a good look. And his mom's kind of just over with the bad attitude and kind of sends him away. Not realizing that like, hey, lady, your son's acting out because he's still not over the guilt about his father passing. So kind of a spoiler for later, but I guess it's important for this part of the explanation, is that Winnie is someone who in the past has been very helpful. He's very big on helping people, like in his own way. He kind of has a temper. The reason why his father was killed was that he was driving his motorcycle when Lava's character, and he witnessed another motorcycle driver, like a delivery guy from a restaurant, basically push an old woman out of the way, like hitting her with his motorcycle and not apologizing. And he kind of yells at the guy and then fights him and gets the guy arrested and then fired from his job. And out outrage for being fired, the guy pulls out a gun to shoot Lava, but instead shoots his dad. And that it's really traumatic. And I think we said this before. I don't know how mental health is perceived over there. I'm going to say this. I've been watching a couple of shows lately where like shit will happen that I will say these characters need therapy to get through, but we never see them talk about it or say about it. So it's like your son is acting out because your husband hurt his father, was murdered in front of him. And instead of getting him like a therapist or something, you're just going to ship him off to his uncle's place to like put him to work to learn a lesson. I feel like it's really fucked up. And it's not like his uncle takes pity on him. Like, obviously, his uncle's kind of tired of his shit, too. Doesn't like that he's acting out. And is like, I'm going to whip you into shape. Which is, like, fair. As far as he's aware, he knows what's been going on with his father. But as far as he's aware, you know, it's really just the bad attitude, the bad acting. He doesn't seem to want any help. So we kind of start off with that. And then but then on the other side, in terms of Satong's character, so his character's name, he gets called Wave. It's really Devin. He's a prince of a small kingdom. Now, I do find it funny when they do these like small kingdoms in Thailand type thing, because I'm like, they never really tell us where they're at. Because for those who don't know, the Thailand does have a royal family. So, but they can't talk about the royal family. It's kind of like a no thing, which is like fair. Like we're in America, so we're not going to say anything back because we don't really know much about the royal family over there. But I do find it funny that a lot of times when there's a lot of like usages of like royalty in these series, because I think there's like another show currently airing right now that has to do with the royal family. Love in the Moonlight last year was another royal family, like small royal family type thing, and there's a good couple like Next Prince is in the Next Prince it's also another royal family, but it's not in Thailand, although they speak Thai, because I do believe they bring in a Thai representation or someone to represent that is supposed to be like a representative of Thailand. So I do always find it funny how they do royal families here. So Devin's whole thing is that he is about to be officially named heir to the throne. He's already the heir because he's the only son. He's got an older sister, but it's kind of one of those ceremonies that's like we officially announce he's heir and he's going to start his royal duties in preparation to become heir of the throne. Right? There's just one problem. Lilia, can you guess what the problem is?
You don't got a boy?
You're right. He don't got a boy. He is gay. But the problem is that he don't got a boy. The problem is he want a boy.
Oh.
I know.
That shouldn't be the problem.
It shouldn't, but society. So his sister knows that he likes boys. His friend has said to him, why don't we go out? Let's go to Bangkok or someplace or the beach side. Like they said that for 2 weeks they're going to go and explore Thailand before he officially becomes heir and is no longer going to be out of sight. He like runs off. Which, before I continue, do you know what's kind of crazy to me? Homeboy runs off pretty easily. I'm like, this must be a royal family. Where are the guards? Because they snuck out of the house, no fucking problem. Like, hello? What do you mean the heir of the throne ran away? And his sister knew, and the family was like, oh, so you know where he is? I'd have been like, excuse me, hon, you gotta tell me where your brother is. He's the heir to the throne. It's wild to me that they just allowed that to happen. By the way, the one gripe that I had with this show, so I'm gonna go back to the main plot and kind of explain how I felt about that, but this has to go into it. As we go along in the story, at no point, I think maybe twice, we cut back to his home country and what's going on there, because a coup ends up happening, obviously. But then for the majority of the series, we have to wait for people to tell us what's going on. And it sucks. So like Gawain is in this series, my Golden Blood member, as like a royal bodyguard who is like doing a double agent thing. Like he's pretending to play for the villain, but is there to help the royal family. And when he finds the prince and he tells Ping and Lava that like, hey, he's a royal prince, but he can't come home yet, but we're getting close to fixing everything. But the royal family's been captured. Okay, so what do you mean the royal family's been captured in a dungeon and we're not seeing any of this even a little bit at all? Like what? But yeah, so to go back to the main plot. So the main reason he leaves is that the budget was clearly not budgeting. He wants to go and kind of be himself for 2 weeks before he can no longer be himself. Because he knows once he becomes the official heir, they're going to start looking for an arranged marriage with a woman and all that stuff, which is like sad. It is kind of like a crazy thing to me that happens still now with royal families. Because I remember when William and Kate got married, I always wondered that, like, what would have happened if one of them had been gay? They wouldn't have been able to marry. I mean, it happens in Red, White, and Royal Blue. Technically, even though the brother, he's not the heir to the throne, he is the spare. I think it's his sister who gets married. She's a princess. So I can't, he's not the heir. I don't think he's the heir. Hold on, now I gotta look this up. So in Red, White, and Royal Blue, Harry, who is the prince in that one, played by your favorite guy, He-Man.
Ooh, I do like He-Man.
Oh, I don't like how you said that.
Cute.
Oh, God. Well, you should watch this one then. Red, White, he's not as buff in this one, but...
That's fine.
Okay, whoa, relax.
That's fine.
Okay, ew.
Ew me?
Ew. Ew. So in it, he is, I guess, the spare. Because I believe their grandfather is alive. I don't remember if his father is alive in the movie. Maybe he is. I'm not sure. But so he would be the second. His brother would be the heir, right? Apparent, and then he would be the spare. But since he's married, he's third in line for the throne. So okay, so he's third in line. So his brother's second in line. So his father would be first in line, the heir. So like yeah, and there's this whole thing about him also being gay because like it's the royal family. But I'm wondering how that works. I mean, I guess we've never had to deal with that as of yet with any member of the royal family of any of them possibly being, because the whole point is about reproducing heirs. But I don't know, it's crazy. But I guess in this case, so yeah, we're dealing with the fact that he is technically the heir to the throne. He says something at the end that, oh my God, made me want to tear up, because when he finally admits to his parents, when he's returned back to home and he's finally back with his family safe, he says to them, I'm not a prince who wants a princess. I'm a prince who wants a prince. And I was like, oh, that was a line. That was a banger line. Whoever wrote that, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 on that line on itself. Like, damn. So he washes out. So he does wash off at the shore. So Lava does find him on the shore. I think the CPR on him. And he has full amnesia. Does not remember anything. Name nothing. What makes me laugh about this whole scene when he finally wakes up is that, so Lava's uncle and the good doctor, they've been having a secret relationship. So Lava's uncle, the reason why Pian is not close to his sister anymore is that he came out to gays to their family, and was rejected. So he moved away. But what it seems like is in this small town that he's a part of now, and he's kind of become like a pillar of the community, they also don't know he's gay. So him and the doctor kind of sneak around. So during like early in the series, when they're having one of their secret like lunch meetups, the nurse interrupts them because they lose the patient. Like Wave runs off, and I'm like, again, what is with these places not being able to keep security intact? And they're like, we couldn't catch him. Cut to the next scene is him walking slowly down the road. What do you mean you couldn't catch him? He's walking at a steadily pace. I could have caught him, and I'm not a fast runner. All you had to do was shove him to the ground. It was ridiculous. I was so confused. I do kind of want to talk about the uncle and the good doctor, because I thought their storyline was so cute, and I really have been enjoying them in A Dog and a Plane. I've watched a couple of like episodes. I'm like not behind on that. I think I'm like an episode behind, but the episodes I've seen of them together, I'm just like, okay, because the tension is there, and I'm not gonna get into the plot of A Dog and a Plane, but I just have to say, watching this series full on, I'm like, oh, I get it. They work really well together. I need them to become an official pairing. Like, there's two series together. They need to be an official pairing. I want to know what their mascot would be and everything, because they're really good. Like, the tension was sweetly there. It's kind of one of those, like, secret relationships that you can tell that, like, while the other is okay with being in a secret relationship for now, he eventually isn't going to be okay with it. And he wants to be more open, but so-and-so doesn't want to be because he's afraid of how people will react. But it's so, like, sweetly and cute. And then there's a whole scene with my man Thor. I love Thor. I need him to be in more things too. Thor isn't not in enough things. Thor is in there playing his ex-boyfriend, and that's when they get into a fight because he's like, wait, you'll be seen in public with your ex, but you won't be seen in public with me. Mind you, Dr. Watt's dad is like the principal of the school, so he's like another big pillar of the community. So it's like, oh, I get it. You don't want to get shot. And then he runs for office. Pian decides he runs for like the island representative. And there's a whole storyline of like, does he decide to just be himself and allow his true self to get out there, or does he keep himself hidden until he wins? And it doesn't work out, for himself. Like, it ends up being revealed that he is gay because someone kind of sees them together. There's a whole scene where this woman like goes up to him at an event at a temple and is like, "Oh, you would make such a good, son-in-law. You and my daughter should get to know each other." Trying to sweet talk him. And he's like, no, I don't have a girlfriend yet. And it's like, dude, don't say that. Definitely don't say that where your boyfriend might hear you. That's fucked up. And he gets pissed. And they don't, I will say that the one good thing about their relationship is that they never really break up. It's kind of moments of them just arguing and then, oh, maybe they will break up, but they don't really break up. And when it's revealed to Watt's dad that they're together, I do think it's really funny that his dad is like, one or the other is going to happen. Either if you win, you're going to marry my son. Make an honest man out of him. If you lose, you break up. We ain't doing this. And I'm like, damn, that's a lot of pressure. Luckily, he does win. He wins and he proposes and it's really cute. They get married. It's very sweet. And what I love even more is that they end up becoming parents. Because one of the workers, so he owns a resort and he's kind of given like work to a lot of the people who in the community have been looked over. One being a woman who, has gotten pregnant and the father has run off. And she asked them, like, will you adopt my daughter? They were there at her birth and like raise her. And they say yes and they become parents. It's so cute. It's really sweet. I think they're one of the first GMMTV like BL like parents. Like I don't want to say gay parents because I don't think we've had, I want to say at the time, by that moment, I think the most we've gotten in terms of like relationships between a lot of the couples in these series have just been getting married or like promise ceremonies. We haven't had any like, oh, they're suddenly becoming parents. They're obviously not the first pair of parents in a BL. I will say one of the earlier ones was my boy Maxnat. They end up having children at the end of Naughty Babe together. And there have been a few other examples. So they're not the first, but I think under GMM, they must have been one of the first. Besides the mascots. So that's kind of their storyline. It was really cute, really sweet, and I love the chemistry. And I'm like, you know what? I need that. 100%. Give me that. Neo is really funny. Him and a nurse. So his character's name is Tom. He's one of the like many underlooked like characters that, gets work at the resort because he used to be like a bad kid who's turning his life over. He wants to be an influencer, and then he gets with the nurse. Very cute, very sweet. I love Neo and everything. He's in there attending. You remember Neo? He was one of the divas in that show we watched. He was the oldest one. I mean, I just didn't like that his plotline ended up being that he was the oldest, and he might have been a few more years older than the like other students in the school that couldn't drink and he could drink, and he's flirting with. Remember that whole plotline? I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but whatever, we'll do it for last. So they're great. So to go to the Winnie Satong storyline, so Lava Wave. It's funny because Devin has like 3 names. It's Lava, Wave, and then Masamune, which I thought meant love you or something, because according to like Love, I had to rewatch Love Sea, but I could have sworn they said Masamune meant something else, and I was like, what does it mean? Because now I'm being told it means something different, and I'm confused. Because in this they say, so his name is Nava. Masamu is the name that Lava gives him later. And Nava means boat and Masamu means ocean. I find it crazy that he's like, your new name is going to be Boat Ocean. Like, okay. But basically when it comes to those two, it's very much, he doesn't remember anything and he's trying to remember things. And it's funny because little by little, they almost get it. Like at one point, Tom ends up calling him Prince Eric. Or no, Lava calls him Prince Eric. And they talk about how like, oh, what if he's like a prince from a hidden kingdom we didn't know about? And it's like, you're on the nose. Kind of crazy how no one thought to Google. That's the other thing. How I'm surprised that they kept it. I think the royal family kept it hidden, or like the bad guys were like, it's not going to get out, the princess missing. And it's like, no one decided to maybe Google the amount of royal family, like, oh, he must be a missing prince. No one went to think like, you know what'd be funny? We should look up the royal families and just like, see if he like is one of them, just for jokes. Like, I get it. We wouldn't have a plot. But that's kind of my thought process. Like, you're making a lot. By the way, that would have been a really creative way for them to find out he was a prince. Extra because there's an entire scene where Lava makes him do his chores, like clean the living room. And he's looking through one of the books. And in it is photos of his home. And it even says the name of his home. But there are no photos of the royal family, nothing. So it's like clearly this kingdom is close enough in proximity that it would be featured in books. We also like he doesn't remember his sexuality. That's the other. So that's the crazy thing. So Lava's like, "Oh, do you remember if like what you like?" And he's like, "I can always help you remember." Which like I get was supposed to be kind of romantic, but like considering he lost his memory and it was still early on, because I'm pretty sure this whole storyline, up until the ending is only like a few months. I think it's like 2 months. Like it's the summer, obviously, and then we jump a year or so. And I'm just like, what do you mean I'm gonna help you figure it out? Homeboy needs to figure out what his name is. And they start kissing and hooking up like it does not take long. I know it's 10 episodes, but I was like, I don't know. That doesn't seem ethical, in my opinion, for you to be like getting it on with the guy who doesn't remember anything, like the amnesia patient. I mean, whatever. I guess who am I, right? Who am I? Who am I to judge, Lilia? Oh, I love this one when they go to the show.
Oh, is that where they're going?
Yeah, they're at Music Bank, I think, or a show channel. I can't remember what show they're at.
They took the baby to all these places. I'd be mad.
He gets on stage.
Does the baby get paid for this shit?
I hope so.
Because that's insane. That's
Not as, by the way, not as interrupting our discussion of that. So I want to discuss TXT's parenting diaries.
to distract you somehow.
So finish our conversation. I think the parents and the kid does get paid. I don't know what it's like in other countries, but you know what we have here in America when it comes to child actors? We have what we call a Coogan law. Do you know what the Coogan law is? Okay. Mini history lesson in the middle of that summer that doesn't have to do with anything with that summer, but I guess that's just teaches Lilia. So it's not the Coogan bill, it's called the Coogan Act. Do you not know what that is? Okay, do you know who Jackie Coogan is? Have you ever seen The Addams Family? The original black and white series. So you know who Jackie Coogan is. He was Fester Addams, Uncle Fester, in the original series. He was a child actor back in the day. He's most famous, besides the Addams Family thing. He's been working since like the silent film era. He died in like 1984. So he's been making films since he was a child. His most well-known role was in the title film. His title role in the Charlie Chaplin film, The Kid. He was like one of the first like child stars of Hollywood. So around the time, he was making an estimate of $3 million to $4 million, equivalent today that would be about $93,932,000, $9 million back like in today's date. When he turned 21 in October of 1935, he assumed that fortune would go to him, like it had been saved to him. Turns out, nope. His father had been his manager. He had discovered that both his mother and stepfather, because his father had passed away like 5 months earlier in a car accident, basically squandered his entire fortune on like fur coats, diamonds, jewelries, cars, and left him with nothing. He basically had to work until the day he died. He tried suing them. He was able to get back the equivalent of maybe like $2 million back of what he made. But because of this, and like, mind you, I believe Charlie Chaplin, he was just broke because he spent all this money. Charlie Chaplin maybe gave him some money as well. Basically, because of the fact that his mother was able to just take his money and use it on whatever the hell she wanted, his entire fortune. In 1939, California passed Coogan's Law, or the Coogan Act, which requires that child actors' employers set aside 15% of their earnings in a trust, which is called a Coogan account, and specify the child actor's schooling, work hours, and time off. So because of him, child actors have like protective laws and are made to have a specific amount of money set aside for them. The thing that's been happening, funny enough, now lately that you mentioned, because we're watching this on YouTube, the parenting diaries thing, but I think it's aired on, I don't know if it's aired on TV. There's a lot of talk on having to like rework that act because it may not count for social media stars like YouTube stars and things like that, because it's a whole different ballgame. Hence why the law always needs to change and move with the times. But that is what the Coogan Act is. So I don't know if they have that in other countries, but that is something that they do have here. So if you're a child actor, you are required, your parents are required to get you a Coogan like account, so that money is set aside always. And that is your Hollywood history lesson for the day.
Woo.
I don't remember what I was talking about before. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so I think it's crazy that he was just jumping back right into it. I do think it's kind of crazy that he was like, I'll help you figure out what you're into. And it's like, maybe don't. Oh, look how cute. Lilia. Oh, you missed it. And it's just this whole, like, they're falling in love, they get together. But it's a very much like roller coaster of a relationship because, you know, Lava knows that first off, he's not going to be there forever. He's only there for the summer for 3 months. He will have to go back home and finish school. Wave, at some point, the hope is that someone finds him. And we know later on that the royal family, you know, ends up locating him and finding him and bringing him home. So is this roller coaster of like, especially after they discover who he is, of will this relationship even last? Because first off, it's, you know, he doesn't want him following him around. He, you know, at some point Wave feels pressured into like trying drugs, and it's just crazy that he's peer pressured to like smoke weed and drink because they tell him, oh, it might help regain your memory. And there are moments where he like slowly starts to regain them. And then once he finds out that he's a prince, it's kind of really funny. The second that Lava discovers he's a prince, he starts treating him like a prince. And it's like, my guy, he doesn't know. Why are you doing that? Treat him like you were before. And then, you know what, it's kind of crazy. This poor boy goes through it a lot because then he gets shot at again. So we discovered that Devin's friend, Victor, who is the one that took him on this grand adventure, was the one that tried to murder him. Because the plan was that he would get rid of Devin and then he could become heir of the throne because his dad would take over and he would become the new heir because his father wants power. Victor comes back and shoots at him again. He falls into the water and then gets amnesia again. But instead of forgetting his memory of being being Devin and Wave, he just forgets being Wave and remembers being Devin. And this whole thing of like now Lava wants him to remember his whole time of being Wave. And it gets really sad because it's like, oh, this relationship is basically over if you can't remember our time together. And they try, and it's the whole thing about him being a royal family is that, you know, he has to tell him, you know, we have to keep it secret. He tries to convince, so he gets back home and he tries to convince Lava to like have him stay with them, and they have to keep it a secret. I will say the craziest part again is that there's no one in this fucking royal castle. Lilia, there's no one in this castle. You want to know how I know? Because he goes to visit, so after he goes back home to this royal castle, right, Devin, Lava visits him. He's like, why don't you come and visit me? I've missed you. Because even though he doesn't remember much of his time as Wave, he decides that he still wants to start some relationship with Lava. He knows there's something there because the feelings kind of come back. So he comes to visit him. And obviously his parents aren't the wiser because it's just two boys messing around and having jokes. They sleep together in the castle, in his bedroom. I'm like, where the fuck? Like, how did y'all not get caught? That's crazy. Like, all it's for them. I just thought it was so funny that I was like, man, you would think after Homeboy, you know, ran off, got amnesia, they got trapped in the dungeon, and they got amnesia again, they would put maybe a couple of bodyguards around him. No, nothing. I'm so confused. What was the budget that they couldn't, like, give me that? But they're really cute. Lava, I will say, is very much annoying, hard ass of a character. There are many times where you're just like, he's really frustratingly annoying, and you're kind of just like, stop being a jerk. Like, we get you gone through things, but you're taking it too far being a jerk, and he flips off a lot. And Wave is kind of just a sweet boy who's just trying to figure out who he is, and he's trying to make himself part of the community because he's like, well, if I can never regain my memory, I need to find a new home type thing. Kid's like, no, thank you. And you know, he starts teaching this kid how to play piano, and the kid ends up, you know, winning a scholarship and everything. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the community. And, you know, he starts helping out the com And even after he leaves, he leaves, and despite the fact that he doesn't remember his time as Wave, he decides to donate money to the island so that they could build a new school, a music room, so the community that took care of him for that short time could continue thriving, could continue to thrive better. This is my one gripe with all the series that have a royal family. And I will say, with some of them, I'm like, okay, historical wise, they couldn't be together because technically it's supposed to be at an era and blah, blah, blah. But for all the, like, 2 series, because it's just the next prince in this one, I think, where it's like, okay, we discovered the prince. He's coming back. He's fallen in love with a man. They should be together. I get so annoyed when they don't stay royal. For this one, okay, it made sense. He didn't want to really be a prince because he felt like he couldn't be himself, and he felt that his sister would have been a better fit. But his dad at some point's like, oh, the king is like, oh, I'm going to give him a special title. We should give him your friend a title for saving you. And they're like, no. And I'm like, no, give him the title. It makes sense. Like, why would you do that? And then he gives off the crown so that he can live with Lava on the island for the rest of their days together as Wave or Nava, or the fuck he wants to call himself now. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. Can the next series we get that has to do with a modern day royal family, princess, whatever, have it so that they, stay royal and rule the kingdom together? Like, hello, please. It's not like a commoner's never married to the royal family. I need that. I just want a royal couple. I want the married couple in a BL. Is that so much to ask for, Lilia?
No.
Exactly. But I think that's kind of the end. I will say I liked some of the outfits that they had in the series. I feel like I want to talk about that. Especially the royal garments. He had this like royal suit that I thought was like really nice. Production seemed really well. The settings made me want to go visit a beach in Thailand. I didn't get to while I was there. But again, my one biggest gripe was them not showing us what was happening to this royal family the entire time. I don't like that we were just being told what was happening when they could have easily just shown it to us what was happening, and I feel like that would have made the series a little bit better. I understand that they were only 10 episodes, but like, holy crap. They did it in a post-credit scene. You could have done it in multiple post-credit scenes, what was going on. Like, I just don't understand why that wasn't the case here. I really feel like it would have helped justify this whole plot line of like his sister taking over and becoming the true heir, instead of just having him tell us that his sister should become the heir. So that's kind of like where I'll end it there. I guess I should give my rating. Are you ready for my rating, Lilia? So this one I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. That one whole thing about, like not giving as much plot was a lot. I feel like if their relationship kind of flip-flopped to a point where I kind of was like, really, we're going to do this again and again and again. The chemistries between like both couples were great. I really enjoyed it. The relationships between all the characters were great. It is a fun series. It is really sad that they're no longer a couple anymore. I would have liked to have seen them in another series. My Professional Boyfriend, whatever it was called. I feel like, this was a pretty moderate budget and a pretty decent storyline. I only could have hoped what we could have seen them do with like a whole more like hard, darker series. Because I think this next one was supposed to be a mafia series. It would have been nice to see them. I wish both of them the best. I don't know if they'll ever get back together. It would be nice if they did, but if they don't, if, they each get new partners, or if when he decides he just wants to be solo, if Satang gets a new partner, I hope all the best for them. I do wonder how that will work, because we've had these conversations about the mascots and everything, because, they're each, so as of the time of recording this, I think GMM the day before released a merch for an event they're doing. And every couple and actor kind of has their own separate merch. And especially if they have mascots. I know it was a big thing that, Winnie Satang each have their own merch and it's separate from each other. And Submarine is on both of them. So I'm at least glad they're doing that, because I do agree with some people that it was kind of like annoying that like we would just have like Submarine pajamas. And on like every other mascot who their postcard was the couple, their parents, it was just him. And I understand why, because it was really fresh in it. But I'm glad we're not just giving it to just being like photo cards and things of summary. I'm glad we're now featuring the actors. And I do think like, hey, this will give maybe the company more opportunity to do more with summary. Like, hey, do 2 different pajama sets. Make a Winnie one, make a Satang one, you know? But I am curious to see what happens, what is next for them, you know? So for this week's song of the week, I know there's going to be like, are you kidding me type pick, but I had to because I feel like it fits the whole situation. I am picking ABBA's Our Last Summer. Even if they hadn't broken up, I think this would have been a song I would have picked for the series because it kind of just fits the vibe of what was going on between them and their relationship of Love and Wave. And it's just a sad, unfortunate that it also just so happens to fit in terms of them as a couple. So I mean, that's kind of it there. Lily, do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay, great. So we're going to end it there. We're going to see you guys next week for a very fun episode. We're going to go back to the not so much talking about sad couples breaking up. We're going to do the 1995 classic film Clueless. That is next week's episode, and we'll see you guys then. Bye.
All right, guys, that's it for this entry. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts. On Twitter, you can find us at FG Diaries Pod. On Tumblr, TikTok, and Instagram, you'll find us at FG Diaries Podcast. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and hope you all have a wonderful fangirly day.